talking about the complexities of home ownership. Colin said something one time that stuck with me. So you said owning a home is a constant battle against water.
Yes, you're always fighting water.
Always fighting water. But, a lot of people have been looking at the options of refinancing their mortgages, and that just kind of happens as time goes on. And joining us right now, we have Linda Bell. She is a home lending expert with Bankrate. Linda, thank you so much for joining us. I know we had some technical difficulties earlier, but you're with us via phone.
Yes, I am. So happy to be with you.
Awesome.
So, Linda, tell us, you kind of took a look into some of the issues that maybe older Americans are facing when it comes to navigating the home financing world. First, explain to me kind of what is this seniority tax that you found and how much could it be costing older homeowners?
Yeah, what we found, this Bankrate research that we did, found that borrowers 55 and older, they're more likely than younger ones to refinance into higher cost loans than their financial profiles allowed them to. And what this basically means is that they're facing what we're calling the seniority tax. They're overpaying for their mortgages, refinance mortgages at an 81% rate. That's higher than any other group. And the dollars and cents impact of this is big. More than $2,000 a year and more than $52,000 over the life of a 30-year loan. This can really make a big difference, especially for those in retirement and especially in this tough economy.
Yeah, why are homeowners 55 and older, potentially paying more to refinance, even though a lot of them have strong credit?
Yeah, see, that's the dichotomy that we looked at, right? Older homeowners are attractive. That's the main thing. They're attractive because of a numbers game. They typically have built significant equity, have strong credit, and a long history of making payments. And the big reason is what we're seeing now in the housing market. The housing market is sluggish, unfortunately, but you have the lenders pressing these loan officers, pressuring them to find new business. And refinancing is one of those key ways that they can generate revenue. And they're really trying to prioritize these loans, selling these loans over what is in people's best interests. And seniors, unfortunately, are at the short end of the stick.
And we know when it comes to, really any industry anywhere, that there can be some people with some not so great business tactics. And we know that, for example, the home lending field can have some pretty aggressive sales tactics, especially targeting older homeowners. What are some of the things that families should look out for, whether that be helping their parents or they're doing this themselves?
Well, we spoke with one lender in the business who said that she remembers a senior coming into her office, showing her a mailer saying, hey, I got this letter saying, why don't I refinance? And I'm interested in finding out more. But what they can do, these lenders that are maybe not totally on the up and up, they can find your public records and see that you have a loan with, let's say, Chase Mortgage. And then they could say, hey, refinance your loan with Chase Mortgage. While that technically is not lying, because they see that you have a mortgage with Chase, it makes the person think, oh, this is Chase. This mailer is from Chase. So sometimes, lenders can do things like that. That could be less, not really on the up and up. So I would say the main thing to do is kind of pause, step back, and say, hey, I got this mailer from this lender. Let me call the number that I know, the number I get on my monthly mortgage payment correspondence, and kind of go from there instead of kind of taking what you receive in the mail at face value.
And how can someone tell whether refinancing will actually save them money versus simply lowering their monthly payment but costing them more long term?
I would say we have some great resources on our website, our Bankrate website, that shows you how to break down things and look at what we call the break even. And that's when the cost of the loan, when you could realize the savings more so than the cost of the loan, because refinancing is essentially replacing your mortgage with a new one. So you're going to have to pay costs, right? So it's not just the mortgage rate. Don't just look at whatever rate they offer you. But we say that definitely by 0.75 to 1 percentage point, if you can lower that rate by that much, it typically will make sense. But if you're planning to move within the next few months, it definitely doesn't make sense. But definitely calculate your break-even point to make sure that the costs outweigh the benefits, rather, outweigh the costs.
And, this is not a fast decision to make. There's a lot to balance out. When it comes to sitting down at that dinner table, crunching the numbers, what are 2 or 3 things that you should really focus on when it comes to making that decision of, should I refinance now? Should I wait later? Is it worth it at all?
Yeah, it can be worth it for anybody and for everybody, especially if you are kind of crunched by your monthly payments and maybe they're too much for you, and you can lower that rate by, like I said, 0.75 to 1 percentage point. That's definitely a way to see if it makes sense. But then again, don't just look at the mortgage rate. Look at the total cost of the loan, and that in the industry speak, that the APR, that total cost of the loan. Because just because you lower that rate by, let's say, 1 percentage point, if it doesn't make sense for you and for your finances, nobody knows that better than you. So if a lender comes to you and say, hey, Linda, refinance now, you can lower your rate by this, you have to say, okay, they don't know if you have extra costs. They don't know if you're financing your child to go to college. They don't know all these extra costs that you may have. So definitely crunch the numbers, use our resources on the website to really make sure that it makes sense for you. And especially, I would add, if you're a senior and you're not totally comfortable with the process, or anybody who's not comfortable with the refinance or mortgage process, bring somebody in with you, a trusted friend, a family member, to kind of guide you through the process, and they can help you, navigate this. It can be very confusing for anybody.
Definitely.
And it could be even more so for a senior.
All right, Linda, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All righty. Very good tips there. Obviously, you can go to bankrate.com to find out more information and learn more about their resources, because they have a lot on there if you haven't looked.